projects have blown up over the past couple of years, and I feel like this is a good tutorial on how to install vinyl siding. I chose this topic because I had had the privilege of going to a church camp for the past 8 years to install vinyl siding myself, and I think it is very cost efficient and easy to install. I was also privileged to be a leader to teach other people to install this as well. So first I'd like to talk about what siding is and what components go into it, and then I'll talk about how to install it and what finishing touches are required to finish up the project. So, talking about what siding is a durable plastic that is made to mimic wooden pieces or wooden siding. And then the other components that are involved are the insulation, your J-strip, you have your inner corner piece, your outer corner piece, and your starter strip. So the tools that you'll need are also a hammer, a measuring tape, an extension ladder, cap nails, siding nails, a level, and tin snips, and a box cutter. So going into starting our project now that we have all of our supplies. First, you'll go ahead and cover the whole house in insulation, and a good way to remember it is shiny side out. Typically, you think of advertisement for these companies that do the insulation. And you'll use your orange cap nails to nail those pieces up. Next, once the whole house is covered in insulation, you will go ahead and do the windows in your J-strip. And what you do is you measure the full piece of J-strip, or you'll take a full piece of J-strip and measure it exactly to the bottom of the window. And then on your side pieces, you'll take it from the top edge and drag it all the way down to past the piece of J-strip on the bottom. And then on the top, you'll overlap the top edges over the side edges. And a good way to remember this is if water got in the top piece of J-strip, you'd want it to stay away from the house, and it'll go down the sides and not even touch the bottom piece of J-strip. Then after the J-strip is up, you go ahead and put your corner pieces up, and you can start leveling your starter piece. And once your starter piece is leveled, you can go ahead and nail it up there and clip in your first piece of siding. And what you do for your first piece of siding is it clips into a lip to hold it in place. And it is very durable, and you can pull on it, and if it's properly clipped in, it will not come out. So once that piece is all properly clipped in, you go ahead and nail it up there and repeat the process for all the way up the wall. A good tip for working on sides with windows or anything like that is staying patient and also measuring twice and cutting once to save time and materials, because if you mismeasure or anything else like that, you'll have scrap materials that can't be used. And it can be very frustrating. So then, another good tip is to use a pencil, a marker, or chalk line when doing straight cuts or anything else to help keep it as precise as possible. So now let's talk about what you would need to do when you finish up the wall. When you're seeing that you're nearing the top, you should go ahead and nail up another full piece of J-strip to create a nice straight top finished look. And when you see that you have a certain piece of gap in between, you will measure every 2 feet from the width of the last piece of siding you put up to the inside part of the J-strip. And at those 2 feet marks, you'll mark it on the wall and on a piece of siding, and then once you have gone the length of however much of the wall you need to do, you will take a straight edge and connect each measurement on the piece of siding and make a straight cut or whatever kind of cut was needed to finish the wall. And you'll also clip that piece in there and then nail it up there. Now that our wall is finished, I'd like to go ahead and give some tips on how to work a peak. So on a peak, or an eave, it can be kind of complicated, but what you need to remember is that you need to be patient and, again, measure twice and cut once. And not all peaks are the same, but some can look the same. And ideally, this edge should be the same on the other side as well, so you can create a template for this angle, and it should match this template on this angle as well. And this is where your chalk line or anything that you can mark for your straight lines will come in handy, and if you have really good snips or any way that you can cut as straight a line possible, this is where it's most important. So now that we are done with the majority of the house, let's go ahead and add some finishing touches. Some finishing touches might include painting a new baseboard up top to make the whole house have a fresh look instead of just the sides. Another one would be to caulk in between the gaps of the J-strip and the window sills to create a nice watertight seal between that. Another thing that would be great and useful to do is to cover any exposed nails with caulk to create a durable seal between this nail and the siding, and it'll help conceal those nails as well. Now that we're done with our house, we can look back and appreciate all of the work that we had done. Thank you for listening to my tutorial on how to install vinyl siding, and I hope it inspired you to think about doing your own home improvements yourself.